Welcome to Inner Shift, a space where you don't learn, you remember who you truly are. Take a moment and ask yourself, is the voice narrating your thoughts actually you, or just a reflection of what you've been told to be? Many of us sprint down a path paved entirely by expectations. We secure the internships, we chase the promotions, and we collect the accolades. But standing at the peak of those milestones often reveals a strange fog. The achievement is real, but the expected fulfillment feels completely hollow. This emptiness leads to alienation. A favorite song suddenly sounds flat. Lifelong hobbies feel foreign. Even close friends seem out of sync with your reality. It is the sensation of an instrument trying to play a melody it no longer resonates with. This disorientation indicates the identity you built to fit in has reached its limit. The artificial structure is simply reaching a point of necessary collapse. This deep inner desolation is a documented spiritual milestone. In the 1500s, the Spanish mystic Saint John of the Cross mapped this journey in his work, The Dark Night of the Soul, describing it as a period of intense spiritual drought. We can understand this process through a four-stage framework. It begins with awakening. This is the visceral realization that you have been sleepwalking through a role society handed you, rather than living from your own center. Stage 1 challenges an old equation. When accomplishments dissolve and the external treadmill stops, your self-worth remains as a constant. You are valuable simply because you exist, independent of any external validation. Think of your anxieties and titles as weather. Heavy, dark clouds can obscure the sky, but they eventually pass through. The true self is the vast, still sky remaining when the storm clears. Awakening turns you into a researcher of your own mind. The discomfort is the beginning of a profound detachment, creating the space required for a more authentic self to eventually surface. Stage 2, purification, is the most confronting phase. This is where the mind's framework for understanding reality starts to disintegrate, leaving you without your traditional landmarks. Eckhart Tolle describes this as ego death. It is a psychological death, where the tightly held beliefs and self-definitions you clung to begin to dissolve. While the identity feels at risk, your actual life remains untouched. Michael B. Beckwith calls this the void of creation. It is a period of no man's land. The old self is dying, but the new, authentic self hasn't emerged yet, leaving you in a state of deep, uncomfortable limbo. To survive this void, you must practice absolute surrender. Instead of resisting the silence or judging the loss of meaning, you simply sit in the mess. You allow the board to be wiped clean. This process specifically targets the masks and projections you use to survive in the world. Only the illusions are at risk. The fire merely clears the ground for something real. Carl Jung taught that wholeness requires integrating the shadow, those unacknowledged parts of ourselves we've hidden away. This purification is the gritty work of making the darkness conscious. As you stop running from the shadow, a quiet, unconditioned voice starts to emerge. It is your inner child, a guardian of your authenticity that has been waiting under layers of adult responsibility. Reconnecting here is vital. This part of you holds the keys to your most genuine emotions and desires, existing long before you learned how to conform to meet expectations. Validating this part of yourself shifts the internal atmosphere. The woe is me mindset begins to soften, and you find yourself slowly drifting upward towards the surface. Embracing the inner child is the bridge through the fire. This healing act grounds you, ensuring you don't get stuck in the shadow, and prepares you for the clarity that follows. Stage 3 is illumination. This transition isn't an escape from being human, but a quiet unfolding. The heaviness of the previous years begins to soften, and you perceive your life with a new, steady clarity. You realize your worth isn't an equation to be solved through achievement. You shift from the frantic performance of a human doing into the rooted presence of a human being. Sadhguru describes enlightenment simply as clarity, a daybreak for the mind. It occurs when you stop mixing up accumulated memory and societal branding with true intelligence. You finally see things exactly as they are. This leads to stage 4, union. Here, success is an intrinsic state of connection and peace. You no longer second-guess every decision based on fear or obligation because you are aligned with your true essence. The reward for enduring the dark night is a deep, unshakable gnosis. You no longer just believe in your value, you know it, and that knowledge is indestructible. The journey contains a central paradox. Only by losing the identity you thought you were do you gain an authentic, steady freedom. This map is not a linear timeline. You may move from awakening to purification and back again. This cyclical movement is natural. Holding this completed map provides an anchor. You are navigating toward wholeness, and that direction remains constant, even when the path loops. When darkness feels overwhelming, simply breathe and trust the process. You are being sculpted, the excess chiseled away to reveal what was always there. Every dawn begins in the dark. By walking through the night and meeting yourself there, you emerge with a joy that is quietly, firmly unshakable. Welcome back to yourself.